one thing that came up, more often than not during, the really intense seeking of the truth is that I would expose myself to different teachings that all proclaim to sort of be about getting to the truth or pointing to the truth in whatever way, or kind of making a map about the truth, or sort of outlining different aspects of it and saying, the truth is like this, and the nature of reality and the truth is this in this way. And often they would compare themselves to different other teachings, say, well, you know what, the truth is like this, as opposed to this other group or this other teaching that says this. So basically what I did was I hopped around from one teaching to another, and I had different experiences sort of that derived out of the understandings of those teachings. Like for example with Buddhism or something, they talk about the nature of emptiness and how everything is empty of inherent existence, and how there's no independent separate self, no inherently existing I. There's no I that has an inherent separated existence. And then there'd be insights based around that, like, wow, yeah, there's no I. Cool. And there's no existence. Wow, it's all empty. And that's sort of similar to non-duality, I suppose, as well. And then, of course, coming from more of a theological background, I was raised Christian, and then I pursued a lot of very dogmatic religious training, which involved, devotional work, loving God with all your heart. And then all of a sudden it's like, because it's not, I didn't have the direct experience of the truth as the living reality at that point. It was more of different concepts and different words comparing themselves against each other, and the different experiences in memory, and saying, okay, well, I can kind of piece that together with this and this together with that, and I'm trying to formulate an idea about the truth and keep all of my teachings going, reconcile them one against the other. And I found that became more and more of an obstacle the more I went along, because it really did complicate the simplicity of the truth. And I've read The Power of Now, and I had Eckhart's teachings pretty much memorized, the basic tenets of his teaching, and I would run them as well, so I'd have all these different angles comparing themselves to each other, and it felt like I was kind of arbitrating them, saying, okay, well, yeah, that's a little bit true, the present moment is true, in the sense that truth is in the present moment, and the inherent non-existence of the separate self is true, so we'll keep that. And of course, I wasn't really it wasn't like an experiential living of the truth. It was me trying to make my concepts fit with each other so that I could be right, so that I could have it. I could have, the correct assembly of different parts that seem to make up a picture. But of course, that takes place where? In the imagination. So, I don't know, that's just a little topic that seems to be prevalent with a lot of people. They'll come to meetings and stuff and say things like, well, how does what you say compare to, what I heard from my years in Zen practice? And then, obviously, how can you answer the question, because it would just be more words compared against memorized words. So it'd be like a new set of words coming into a conceptual mind that has, memorized other concepts about the nature of truth, which is just more words. So I think that can be a real sticking point for a lot of people, because, just from my own experience and talking to quite a few people about this, there's a sense that they have to reconcile something, that there's more than one thing pointing to the same thing, but that the ways of pointing need to all line up. It's like if you have the ocean and then you have different rivers and whatnot, it's like imagining that all the rivers have to be going in the same direction, towards the ocean. They can't, if the ocean's in the center, they can't all just, go any which way. So it's attempting to do something that is kind of superfluous to actually experiencing, to actually recognizing the truth, because it's saying, it's like saying all streets need to go in the same direction to get to the destination. Well, it doesn't matter what the initial kind of roadmap or pointer is, because as long as it's followed or gone into in a way that actually resonates and promotes a deep understanding of the truth, and then it can just be left. It can just be jumped off of. We can just relinquish them, all of them. We don't have to keep any residue of a belief system. Because basically what I did with non-duality was, I had a sense that these are just pointers, because part of the teaching is to negate itself, which is beautiful. But basically what happened with me was I wanted to hang on to the teachings and the experiences that seemed to come out of following those teachings, because it felt like, I owed them something. I owe the teaching something, whereas it's all God, right? It's all the love of God. It's all grace that allows for those experiential understandings and allows for the release from that bondage. And that fits into sort of an addictive tendency that we have, which is to want to suck pleasure out of something. So there's a sense of, okay, well, this teaching made me feel good because it gave me glimpses of the truth. So then I imagine that I can kind of milk that teaching for all it's worth. I can extract some good feelings out of it. But of course that's, in a way, that's like what the Christian teachings might call idolatry, because we make something, it's like we hold something as God or as the truth, which is actually just derived concepts and pictures in our minds and memories of past experiences. So there's, not to say like, it's a sin and it's bad and stuff. It's just a mental tendency that happens that can be very painful to us, because we're not getting the real juice. We're actually in an addictive place where we're attempting to use old habits of thinking and belief structures in order to get relief, instead of actually abiding in the truth and actually, trusting the truth itself. We kind of do like a little bypass or something, jump into concepts, and then try to reconcile concepts with more concepts. And it can get very subtle. So I mean, the real answer is just to be in that freshness, to be in this freshness, which is always here, and then not have to worry about it. Let the concepts just sort of play out, because they dissolve anyway. If we're not investing in the conceptual structures, the truth just sort of shines and illuminates the irrelevancy of my mind. So it's very beautiful to just allow that to happen and not have to do the dance of me being right about something, or me knowing what it's all about. It's kind of like this sense of, it's like a desperate dance to try to keep my version of the truth alive. So the truth itself is alive, it's the living reality, and conceptualizing it is, it's like 2 steps removed or something, or it's the truth as it was yesterday, and what good does that do? Or the truth as I hope it will be tomorrow, or even right now, even to say this is the truth right now, it's already missed it. So anyway, we've all heard all this before, but thanks for listening anyway. I love you.